The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of shriekers, so get ready, nerds, because we're talking Tremors 2, Aftershocks. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us on this episode of the Salty Nerd Podcast. We're talking Tremors 2, Aftershocks, and I'm joined, as always, by my fantastic panel of nerds. Matt Vader's here. What's up, dude?
Hey, man, you know what? I never thought of my remote control car as a murder device before.
You've never seen Home Alone?
No, I guess. Well, yeah, but this is next level. All right. It's like, all right, remote control truck.
Dynamite?
Let's go blow some shit up. Yeah, I love
For
it.
sure.
Yeah.
$40 retail.
Jude is also here. Welcome.
Hello.
How are you? Hello.
Hello.
What the hell are you doing?
It's just how I say hello now.
Hello.
What do you do?
Next time she's going to be like, hello, governor.
I like to mix it up.
Matthew Cadish is also here. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, so we go from one of my favorite movies of all time, the original Tremors, to Tremors 2, Aftershocks. And, ooh, it's quite a jump there. Ooh, quite a jump.
Sounds like a bad sneaker name.
Gonna pump him up.
I gotta pump up my Aftershocks.
Got my limited edition ass blasters.
So I get to stomp him with my Aftershocks.
Gotta go down to the community college for some top-notch CGI effects from the film section.
Absolutely.
I need 2 pair.
Utah.
This is
Give me 2.
This is where our new friends, the Tremors saga,
You see?
they like unsubscribe.
Yeah. Oh, this is why you call yourself Salty the Nerds.
Fuck these guys. We're out of here.
Yes, it is. All right, so obviously we're going to get real salty and have a lot of fun with this movie. So if you're into that kind of thing and you like our kind of content, stay tuned. We're going to get into Aftershocks in just a second.
I feel I was denied critical, need to know information.
Welcome back, everybody. Hey, before we get into Tremors Aftershock, I want to let you know you guys can support us by downloading a mobile game called Dragon Champions. Go to saltynerd.com/DC and download this awesome mobile game. It's a lot of fun. We all play it here. Matt Vader has reached level 80, and Matthew Cadish, of course, is Masterclass level 80. And we have a lot of fun with our patrons over there in the, what is it called? The Guild.
The Guild.
The
Yes.
Guild. The Salty Nerd
The Salty
Podcast
Nerd
Guild.
Podcast Guild.
If you guys reach level 20 after typing in our promo code SALTY in the promo code area, you guys get a little bit of a leg up, help you reach level 20. Once you're there, then you can join our guild and help us fight dragons.
It's about time to get back into it. I hit level 80 and I
Took a break for a little bit.
I needed a little break because
Okay.
I was playing it pretty hard there for a little bit.
Got to get back into it.
Yeah.
All right, guys, download the game. It's a lot of fun. And those guys over there that are developers of the game support us. And we want to return the favor. All right. Tremors 2, Aftershocks. Take it away, Jude.
All right, sir. 1996, Tremors 2, Aftershocks. Rated PG-13 with a runtime of 1 hour, 40 minutes. This had no box office, but do you want to guess what the budget was?
It was direct to video.
Yeah, this is a straight to
Oh,
video.
it's via. Oh,
This is the
man.
direct to VHS days.
Mm-hmm.
Did they have DVDs in 96?
96? Fuck yeah.
They were
If you
just
had a-
barely
They were
coming,
just coming out, right?
If
They're
your
just coming
parents
out.
were rich.
Man,
Yeah.
they were still rocking the Laserdisc back in 96.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm in the market for
Direct to video.
DVD player.
Budget?
Yes.
It's got to be less than the first one.
Literal sock puppets.
Yeah.
For, you know.
$8 million budget.
Oh.
Okay, Vader.
Are we guessing budget or box office?
Budget. There is no box office.
I'm going to say $142.
Okay. Kadish, do you know?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Cheater.
This had a budget of $4 million.
Okay.
And no box office.
And that was,
No box
and that was
office.
all
No
for
box office.
That was all for ostrich food.
Ostrich food.
Yeah.
They did play a big part in this movie, huh?
Not really.
Fucking ostriches.
Are they ostriches? Because I said ostriches and Kadish corrected me and said they're emus.
No, emus are the smaller ones
Okay.
with their shorter necks.
Kadish
Change
is
my
wrong.
synopsis now.
I watch more Discovery Channel.
Why don't
movies.
I take
Yeah.
advice from
I don't
Kadish?
know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Ostrich.
You know,
Ostrich. All right, it's fixed.
Use him for other things, not his brain. Okay, come on.
And yeah, I made him do his arm circles.
It's funny. I texted you last night, and you're all, "We're boning. Leave me alone."
So just straight up.
Okay.
We were just watching Day Shift.
Yeah. That's a good fucking movie.
We'll talk about that in a
We'll
minute.
do that later.
You ready for the synopsis?
Yeah, go ahead. Take
All
it
right.
away.
Tremors 2 Aftershocks, aka Tremors in Mexico. When a horde of Graboids attacks an oil refinery, the owners track down Earl on his failing ostrich farm. They offer him $50,000 for each beast he can kill. When the Graboids start evolving into heat-seeking Shriekers, he calls in his old pal with the big guns to help eradicate the creatures. And it seems like Earl's luck is looking up. He's $300,000 richer and just met October 1974's playmate, Geology Kate. Discuss. Yep.
So I don't even know, man. It's like you could tell immediately because Kevin Bacon wasn't there. You were like,
Kevin said no.
Fuck you!
Yeah, Kevin said no. They lost a little bit of wind in their sails with
Yes,
this one.
they did.
And
He hadn't decided that this movie was okay by 96.
right?
Yeah.
He was still down on the first one. I wonder if like him being in this would have made that big of a difference. I mean, maybe it would have been a little bit more nostalgic, I guess, because the guy that they got to replace him, this taxi driver dude, for like half this movie was looking at him and I'm like, I think that's the dude from National Treasure. Remember Nick Cage's little
and Geely?
Yeah, his little partner dude that was like his little sidekick.
Okay.
He looks just like him. And I was like, that's weird. I thought he was younger than that. And I guess it's not him, but he's just freaking like a doppelganger. I thought he was
Not David Arquette.
No, not David Arquette. I thought he was the dude from National Treasure.
You see, I think David Arquette should have been in 2 and 3. He should have played this role and the role in that.
Well, in 5 and 6, we get budget David Arquette, aka Jamie Kennedy.
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
Jamie Kennedy. I watched that guy play blackjack. He's terrible. He has a fucking system and he loses every single time. I think it's funny when celebrities come in and play in the casinos and they have these weird, goofy systems for winning and they never win ever. It's just funny to me.
So
Like Jamie Kennedy is a big YouTuber now. He has his own little podcast.
Jamie Kennedy Experience,
He
right?
better be a YouTuber because he doesn't have much of an acting career.
Well, I think he started his podcast or whatever, his YouTube channel during COVID, didn't he?
most people do. We did.
No, we were before.
We were before.
We started our
we just-
podcast before.
Yeah.
We started our YouTube
Both Vader
channel.
and Alex had COVID before it was cool.
Yeah. I got laid off.
No,
before it was
I got COVID after it was trendy.
Yeah, you did.
I just got it a few weeks ago.
No. We had a theory that both of you contracted it while we were doing this in 2009.
Yeah, and in
Oh,
2019.
because I had
you
the long
that
COVID cough.
horrible cough.
The long
Yeah.
COVID cough.
Why are we
Like
talking
8
about
months.
COVID right
I don't
now?
know why.
Because we don't want to talk about this movie.
It's more interesting than Graboids.
And that was Tremors 2.
So
Burt,
the
the
funny
long hair
thing,
ward.
the funny thing about this movie is that so after Tremors blew up on home video, they were like, Universal was like, okay, let's make a sequel to it. And originally they were going to spend $17 million on the sequel to get Kevin Bacon and Reba McEntire and all these people back. And Reba McEntire, unfortunately, she was in the middle of like a worldwide tour at the time, and so she had to turn it down. Yeah. And Kevin Bacon was still convinced that Tremors was like a terrible movie. And so he passed on it. And when the big name actors all passed, Universal was like, yeah, we're not going to give you $17 million for this. So they slashed the budget to 4. And Ron Underwood, the original director, did not return either. But the guy who directed this movie, S.S. Wilson, he was one of the original screenwriters of Tremors. And so him and his writing partner, Brent Maddock, wrote this specifically for a kind of like lower budget. And originally this was supposed to get a theatrical release, but Universal was like, we're going to do it
somebody
straight to
saw
video.
it and they were like, no.
No. That's blockbuster material.
Yeah, so this movie had a lot going against it right from the beginning. And they actually shot it in like 92. and it sat on the shelf for like 2 years
Oh my God.
before like Universal kind of dusted it off, and they're like, "What are we going to do with this movie?"
It's funny. You mentioned something in our text messages when you were watching this movie. You're like, "This is like low key Jurassic Park, basically
Low budget.
Really?
Jurassic Park."
Low budget Godzilla too.
Yeah, I didn't get Jurassic
either.
Park vibes. I got the Lost World vibes because
Okay.
basically it's like, okay, so you have your hero from the original
Yeah.
movie, but there's only one, so it's Malcolm instead of Alan Grant or whatever, and he gets contracted to go and help go to this remote place and help with the scenario with these monsters, which is essentially the same thing as the Lost World. Malcolm gets co-opted into
Yeah.
going back to the island to
I
help
meant
them.
Jurassic Park world.
Okay,
like,
yeah,
in that universe.
Yeah, for sure. I got those. I definitely got like Lost World vibes from this.
I
but-
don't know which movie I was talking about, but I was talking about a movie.
Well, what's funny is like, so this movie was made and released before Jurassic Park 2, right?
96. Yeah, 98 was Lost World.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which
so,
one was the
so
one with
Steven Spielberg
Leone?
ripped off.
Tremors 2. Oh no.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, Tay Leone was.
I don't know. When did Crichton
Alien
write
was three,
the
okay.
when did Crichton write the second book? Because the second book
Well, he wrote it after the first movie came out, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
To cash in.
So I wonder, maybe I don't know, who knows? Maybe Crichton stole it
Listen,
from Tremors.
all I know is I want to thank our patrons and Discord members for helping me get through this.
Yeah.
Because I did a watch
Yeah.
right. I did one of
Your
my
emotional support
one of my
Patreon members.
impromptu. I just typed unannounced watch party in Discord. Boom! I'm gonna watch this movie, and I got like 4 people in there, and you showed up. And it was like we had a good time,
That's cool.
and it was the only way I would have made it through. It was the only way.
So let's talk about why we can't make it through this movie. Because I'm like
I'll never do it again.
the first opening scene where the dude's getting chased on the barrels, for whatever reason, immediately I'm like, oh. Like it just feels like it's less passion behind it than the first
Also,
movie.
you're like, that's not gonna work.
It's just like, what are you doing,
They
bro?
ate a truck in the last one.
That's the other thing that pissed me off about this movie. Sorry, Kish. That like the rules seem to have changed
Yeah.
and or made it a little bit easier. Like they put the gaming hardness on like low for this movie because
Yeah.
they're like in trucks and they're safe, or they're like just like, oh, I can hang out in this building and I'll be fine, but I can't go out to the grassy field. And I'm like, it's not as intimidating as the first one.
Yeah, and at one point they're on a massacre of Graboids, and it's still not fun because
Yeah.
it's so easy.
Yeah, it's
and,
too
and
easy.
there's no rocks.
There's no stakes.
There's no rocks for him to stand on. It's like, oh,
I know
there's-
rocks in Mexico.
Yeah, ain't no rocks in Mexico. This is a flablublious freaking dirt mountains. You know, and I just made
It's
that word
alluvial.
up. Whatever.
And it's real. And
I know it's science.
I deal with it at work. So.
Okay, minor man. Whatever. It's science. Science, people. Fluvial. Whatever.
Save us, minor man.
Yeah, well, it's funny because the basic premise of this is that the biggest oil field in Mexico is infested with graboids, and so the Mexican government, in conjunction with the oil company, go to recruit the only expert they can find on graboids, which is Earl from the first movie, and basically they approach Kevin Bacon first, and he's like,
Fuck you!
off screen basically, and so like they go and they find Earl, and Earl's fallen on hard times because he kind of squandered his fame and fortune that he made off the first movie by making some bad investments in like ostrich farming and stuff like that. One of the funny things about this movie is like when you see Burt's trailer at the beginning, or Earl's trailer I should say, so like at the end of the first movie they're like, oh man, we'll be in National Geographic. He's like, fuck National Geographic, we'll be in People magazine. and on Earl's wall in his trailer there are framed People magazine and National Geographic covers with them on it. So I just thought that was kind of like a cool callback to the first movie.
I thought for sure watching this that Jude would be into this movie for his aesthetic alone. Like he looks like he's trying to be Patrick Swayze from Roundhouse or something like that.
No,
Sam Elliott,
he's
my
trying to be
boyfriend
Sam Elliott
from
Sam-
Roadhouse.
What did I say?
Roundhouse.
Is that like a restaurant? I'm fucking hungry.
You just don't eat.
I don't gotta go down to Roundhouse. I'm sorry, I'm
I'm
confusing.
like, Patrick Swayze was in a movie called Roundhouse?
That's Chuck Norris's restaurant chain is Roundhouse.
Outback Graboid house. Something, I don't know, whatever.
Graboid House of Pancakes.
Yeah.
Graboid House.
Graboid brand pancakes. Well, they had a video game made off of this thing,
Yeah.
right?
I want to play that game.
I do too. Like, what's that game
I
like?
wonder if it's real.
You remember that original?
There's got to be some like computer nerd out there that made the game.
They were actually developing a Tremors video game a while back, and I think it ran out of money and it never got released or something like that.
It sounds like
So there's this is gonna be weird and obscure, but the original Super Nintendo had a game based off of the Star Wars, A New Hope, and you run. You're Luke Skywalker, and you run through the desert, and like sandworms come up and try to eat you. And I'm like, I imagine that's what this game would be like.
In my brain, I'm like, oh, so this is what the sandworms start out as in Dune, right? Because they can't like be born 300 yards long. So
yeah, well, I mean, they basically took the sandworms from Dune and shrunk them down to the size of a great white shark, and had them swim through the dirt.
It's kind of cool.
It's a cool concept, and it worked really well in the first movie. And so the problem with this movie is that in the first movie there were only like 5 Graboids, and those Graboids were like super hard to kill, and they were really smart. In Mexico, they have like 1,000 Graboids.
They have a horde.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
Yeah, and you know, it's kind of weird because it's like if there were that many Graboids in Mexico, like first of all, where did they come from?
Right.
Second of all, you'd have every government in the world descending on this place to try to like capture them. Or
Yeah,
something
the
like that.
Mexican government's just like casually giving people weapons grade material to go and like destroy this stuff. They're like, oh, just whatever you want, but we're not going to bother ourselves with it.
I know how they should have started this movie, or even the first Tremors. They should have like had like this weird meteorite like emanate some weird radiation.
Well,
that lands out in the middle of the desert or something.
Yeah.
And like that radiation like
made some
wakes
worms.
up all these worm eggs or some shit.
Well, the funny thing, so
They explain where they come from.
Yeah, in the first movie, they're trying to guess like where they originated from, and like the geologist girl is like, oh, like they must have been here from pre-Cambrian age, and Kevin Bacon, of course, is like, it's the government. They created it. And then Fred Ward's like, my money's on outer space. and in this movie, so like they find Graboid eggs in the fossil record in Mexico. And so like Earl's all disappointed. He's like, man, I really thought it was aliens.
Yeah, it turns out they're like actually older than dinosaurs. Like they've been in the fossil record this whole time. And they've just been dormant, I guess.
But what's funny is, so when we were talking to David Hewlett during our Tremors interview, so like his good friend Vincenzo Natali apparently directed the failed pilot for Sci-Fi with Kevin Bacon in it, and apparently they wove in like a bunch of like conspiracy, like government conspiracy stuff into that, where like the government had something to do with the Graboids. So
I don't like that you called it a failed pilot, because apparently it's bonkers awesome. Like nobody picked it up.
it didn't get picked up for series, thus it's a failed pilot. Like is no reflection on how good the pilot is.
Yeah.
I want to, how many pilots out there are there that are actually really good shows that we would want to see? I bet there's a ton of them.
Probably
that
a
like
good
hit
amount.
it out of the park the first on the
But
pilot.
never made it to
But
series.
never made it. Yeah.
Because some dumb fuck
Got to be a lot.
studio executives, no, I don't like that one.
Real quick, the Tremors saga, which is in our active chat right now, talking to us, they dropped a great comment. I got to read it. It says, there was a scene in the first movie that got cut where Burt finds a crashed alien spaceship.
What? That's pretty sick.
That's pretty dope.
That's pretty awesome.
I would love to see that.
I love it that this series
Has its super fans?
as bad as these second and third movies are.
Don't yuck their yum.
Has its super fans. I'm not yucking their yum.
Dude, they keep
like a lot of
making
this.
them. So like they made 3 Tremors movies, then they made a TV show, and then they made 2 more Tremors movies. They're making another movie. They tried to get another TV show off the ground.
And I think Tremors Saga, I think they have a YouTube group that's probably got a bunch of people in it. So I think it's cool that these movies like this out there has its pocket.
I love that
of
it's still
fans.
going. Apparently,
it's neat.
according
It's
to
awesome.
them, they said the 4th movie's almost
Western
as
one?
good, if
That's
not
English
better.
watched it, didn't you?
Is
I've
it
seen
better than the
I've seen it
first?
A couple times. No,
I have
Oh,
not.
okay.
I have not seen it.
No.
I mean, the 4th movie is fun because it's like a different take. It takes place in the Old West.
Is that the one with Jamie Kennedy?
No.
Okay.
Jamie Kennedy comes in the 5th one.
Okay.
But,
It's like all the actors come back and play old versions of themselves.
no, so like basically it takes place. It's a prequel. It takes place in Perfection, in like when it was a small mining town, and Burt Gummer's like great grandfather or great grandfather, I don't know which one. He's the one who owns the mine, and so like when miners start getting killed and they refuse to work, he has to come down and kind of sort it out. And Billy Drago, who was in my movie, The Outside Man, he has a role in it as like this gunslinger who gets hired to come in to like kill the monsters and stuff like
I'm
that.
not gonna lie to you. That sounds awesome.
Isn't the town called something like
It's called
Shitty Town or something?
It's called Rejection.
Rejection. Yeah.
So like its original name was Rejection, and then like Burt Gummer comes in. He's like a real dandy. He's like, oh, I broke a nail, like type thing.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, he becomes like this like huge gun nut, and takes on like the Graboids and stuff like that. It's one of the better sequels to Tremors, but it's nowhere near as good as the first one.
Okay. So for this one, like, I think the main issue I had were the stakes were a little bit lower because I felt like they nerfed the Graboids quite a bit. And then they tried to put that on its head by having them like evolve to a new type of thing where they can actually run around. But it kind of came off a little bit more goofy than I wanted to.
In this movie and the third movie, they're doing this thing where the worm, the Graboids, evolve into different types of life forms. And
You didn't like that?
I didn't like that. I didn't think it was necessary. I thought the original concept for the creatures were kind of cool, and I just thought it was neat how they got smarter and they just outsmarted the humans when the humans came up with something.
Yeah, I like that they were like setting traps and stuff like that.
And also like the initial incarnation, the Graboids, the one that stay underground. What's cool about them is like you don't see them, and so like it's just the impression that you get like when you see like the ground moving or like you see like the posts fall down, like whatever. It adds some mystique to them, and so like in a way like it's more interesting that like you don't see them. Right. And with this one, so this was before CGI, right? And this was also direct to video, and so there is no CGI in this movie. It's all practical, and so like the little Shrieker versions of the Graboids that eventually come out in the second half of this movie, they're smaller, and they required like 18 puppeteers to work and stuff like that. And most of them were just like kind of like rubber, like mold of these things. But what's funny about this is, so originally, you guys remember Starship Troopers, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So you know the bugs in Starship Troopers?
They look just like this. Yeah.
Well, Starship Troopers stole the original design for the Shriekers from this movie.
What?
Because they were in Universal's like vault, and they couldn't make the design for like Starship Troopers for this movie on the budget because it just wasn't feasible back then. But Starship Troopers basically took the initial design for the Shriekers and just turned them into the bugs, and that was the initial idea for the Shriekers.
Because like the bugs from Starship Troopers are way scarier than these goofy little Velociraptor things they have in this movie.
Though. They fit that movie.
Yeah. I think if these ones were more insect-like, I think they'd be creepier.
Yeah,
with like the spiny little legs, look like spiders with big chompers and stuff.
Yeah, I kept calling them Graboids.
Yeah.
well, what's funny is that nobody ever liked the Shriekers, and so that's why in the third one they're like, oh, we're gonna
like, shit, we better make them evolve again.
Yeah, we're gonna upgrade them to ass
blasters. How's that better?
And you know what's funny is like they rarely use the Shriekers after the second one because nobody likes them.
Right.
But by the time you get to the fifth Tremors, the ass blasters are redesigned and they look gnarly as hell.
Really? Oh, cool.
Yeah, because they look dumb as hell.
They look really bad.
I gotta watch more Tremors movies.
Oh. Well, I mean, how can we not? There's fucking 7 of them, dude. Like,
I would watch that show.
And a TV show.
Yeah, I would watch that show.
Yeah, I want to get our hands on that pilot.
We got it.
Yeah, we got it.
We know the people. Make it happen. I don't know what else to say. The hijinks ensues. Okay, so I will say something that I do like about this movie is when they call in the reinforcements, and we get my favorite character coming back in a freaking big ass military vehicle, all his guns. He's like, "You mean tell me that the Mexican government said you could have whatever you want, and all you got was one box of dynamite? You gotta think bigger than that." And he opens up the back of his truck. He's got bazookas and all kinds of shit.
Never been a planner.
Yeah. So one of my favorite things about reintroducing Burt Gummer is, so when we meet him, he's kind of like in his bunker. He's all depressed because his wife left him, and but as he's being invited by Earl to come down to Mexico and fight these Graboids, the camera slowly pulls back, and we see that he's mounted the Graboid head on his wall.
Yes,
it's like one of the most epic shots of the entire movie.
Dude is a badass. Yeah. He's no joke. Like even there's a scene in this movie where he gets ambushed by the fucking walking Graboids, and he drives back. His truck's all fucked up. He's all fucked up. He gets there, and Earl's like, "What the fuck happened to you?" And he's like, "I had to fight like 18 of them off, like by hand. I was out of ammo." I'm like, so he was like punching these things as he's driving his truck back.
What's funny about that scene is like they actually shot Burt fighting the Graboids. They shot like the entire like action scene of him like fighting them off. And in fact, the director S.S. Wilson had to like double for Michael Gross because the character of Burt is based off of S.S. Wilson. So like they shot the entire scene, they had it all edited, and they ended up cutting it out for pacing reasons. And one of the big issues with this movie is the pacing. Like I think like the first like half hour, 45 minutes of it are pretty decent because like they're hunting like the OG Graboids. And then like once they move over to the evolved version of the Graboids, which are the Shriekers, the movie just feels like it goes on way too long in my opinion. And it just drags. It's not as fun.
Does anybody else like completely unconvinced by the love interest thing with Earl and the archaeologist chick?
I mean,
I find it funny that Playboy Playmate goes on to become like a oil sanctioned geologist.
Dare you?
Hey man, those Playboy girls are smart. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
I love that he knew her though.
It had to be pointed out to me in our chat because I was watching this and I'm kind of checked out at that point. And they go, you know, the love interest is the same girl who was on the Playboy calendar at the beginning of the movie. And I'm like, what? Really? I was like, I didn't connect the dots.
Oh, she's on the wall?
Yeah, she's on the Playboy because it's the same girl.
Oh, I know it's the same girl, but
lady.
I didn't know they like referenced it before.
And what's funny is in the first movie, so Kevin Bacon's character is the one who's obsessed with like the centerfolds, and he eventually like settles for like the real girl. And Earl's always giving him a hard time about like, you know, reaching for the stars. And then it turns out like he secretly harbors this thing for this.
But he says he keeps her on the wall to remind him of things he can't have.
Yeah.
Such a fucked up mentality.
But then he ends up having them. And it's also funny too, because like in the first movie, every time they do rock, paper, scissors, Earl wins. And in this movie, every time they do rock, paper, scissors, Earl wins. So it's kind of a...
Got to keep it up.
Yeah, there's
That's
some
continuity.
Well,
there's some continuity of jokes in this.
Sometimes he loses, but he still wins.
Yeah. Like he'll lose
because
the
Grady
rock.
doesn't know how to play.
He changes the rules.
Well, no, he'll lose the rock, paper, scissors, but in losing, he gets something better out of it. Like that's kind of the gag.
I don't know what else to say.
I know. It's going to get even worse for the next one.
I know. I didn't like this movie because like here's the scene, perfect example. Like he's off the truck and he's just walking around and there's like no tension. And like Earl's like, dude, you better get off the ground. They're going to come and get you. Like in the last movie, if you touch the ground, you're fucking dead.
Yeah.
But they also got
and
the
in
radar.
the next one.
And they do have the radar, yeah.
And one of the funny things about this movie is so like in the first movie, they made it clear that because of the loose sand in the Nevada Valley that they were in, the worms were able to like navigate, right? But in this one, it's like grassland. It's like
just dirt.
You know, like
Soft dirt.
They wouldn't be able to really kind of like navigate the way that they were doing the first movie in this landscape. So it's weird. It's kind of weird.
It's weird. All right, guys, before we finish up our discussion on Aftershocks, we'll be taking a break. We'll be right back.
Some people think I'm overprepared, paranoid, maybe even a little crazy.
Welcome back, everybody. Hey, if you guys want to support what we do here and you like us and you want to buy some stuff from us, you can go to saltynerdstore.com and grab some of our merch. We have some really cool shirts there that are designed by us, and we love them, and we think they're freaking awesome. Like, this is my favorite one, right? Peace, love, dinosaurs. Grab that. And you can grab the official logo that Vader is wearing. And if you do buy something, we'd love for you to send us a photo of like a selfie or something like that so we can share it on the Instagram and on Twitter and stuff like that and say a nice, polite thank you for buying our merch and supporting us. So head over to saltynerdstore.com and type in salty for 10% off. All right.
So one of the things I want to point out about this movie is that because of its super low budget, they had to be kind of like really creative with how they spent their money. And I think that for a $4 million straight to video movie, they did a pretty good job. But there's one part in this movie that I want to point out, which is when we get to see the Shrieker vision, which is basically like the Predator heat vision type thing. So this was way before like, computer CGI stuff. And the way they got that effect in this movie was that they took a high-8 video camera and they had people dress up in like yellow outfits with like red like gloves and like stuff like that. And when they blew up the Super 8 video or high-8 video to film size to do the final editing with, it created this graininess that made it look like heat vision. So it's all just like people with like,
get out.
Yeah.
For real? They're wearing like yellow outfits with red gloves?
Yeah.
That's
funny.
nuts.
You got to get creative with those tight budgets.
Never would have thought of that. Never in my life would have thought that was that. In fact, most movies that do this, I just assume that they're using actual thermal cameras because they're not that expensive to get. So I was just like,
no, but
that's crazy.
But if you look at it, so like the heat vision stuff is very quick. And the reason for that is because like if you linger on it long enough, you can tell that it's not really heat vision. It's just like,
man, that's
it's all done in post.
This scene was ridiculous when it chases it to the rock and takes a truck on there.
I mean, they really tried to make Grady like the new Val, and I just don't feel like Earl and Grady had the same kind of like chemistry that Val and Earl did.
Yeah, they definitely don't. I think he's too goofy. Like Kevin Bacon was goofy in the first movie, but he still was competent.
Yeah.
I feel like this guy is just kind of like a goof off. Like he didn't know what he was doing half the time.
Also, the only people who die in this movie are Mexican. So
they're in Mexico.
Yeah, but no white people get killed in the making of this movie.
They killed Miguel in the third one too.
Oh man! And they killed Chang.
Yeah. What the fuck, man?
Are the Tremors movies racist?
There's our thumbnail.
That's the thumbnail. It's settled. Oh shit.
Oh, that's terrible.
It is terrible.
And they killed Graboids.
Well, at least the Graboids respect women.
Goddamn.
How many women died? Did women die in this?
Girls died in the first one, right? Didn't one of the chicks, one of the moms or something like that, died?
The wife, the farmer's wife.
No, the doctor's wife died.
Doctor's wife. Yeah.
Is she the only one?
It might be.
Wow.
Didn't they kill a kid?
So the Tremors, the Graboids like the D. Is that what we're saying? They don't
Sure. Yeah.
Well, like unto like, those things look like D's.
All right, V. Do you have
Giant penis came up from the earth and tried to grab me.
Is there any?
Things come out its tip. It's just like trying to pull me in. It's weird.
Or get that checked out.
I'm gonna get really dirty because I'm drinking the vodka. No, I can't do that, dude. I can't get filthy every week.
Yeah, you can.
Can I?
Yeah.
You're among friends.
Kind of what you do.
Do we need to do that?
We're in it for the long haul today, dude.
Pace yourself. Anyway, is there any redeeming scenes in this movie for you, V?
In 2?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me what it is. You have a shit-eating grin on your face.
Redeeming? I don't know, but I think is Gummer. Gummer's first kill with the remote control car, and he's got too much dynamite attached to it. That one cracked me up because it was a kaboom. It was like they literally like put too much dynamite on whatever special effect they were doing and just blew the shit out of the set. And it was really funny because it looked like a huge explosion on camera.
You're so excited about that.
It was pretty funny to me. I'm like, God damn. I remember typing in our chat. I was like, that was a really big explosion. And they played it off that way too. And it was funny. It just, it kind of cracked me up. No, this movie sucks, dude. This is a terrible fucking movie. It's like after watching Tremors 1 and going into this movie, it's like, this is just like, it feels like a directed video money grab, and which is what it is, you know. And it's just a really 90s thing, and it's just I really wish. I don't know. I know people like it, and it's got its following, but at the same time, it kind of like I feel like they don't do adequate respect to the first movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know it is what it is, but that big explosion scene was kind of fun.
Okay.
Are we grading or are we just doing
go
favorites?
ahead. Why not?
Are we grading? I'm not gonna say it's a 1-star crap fest because it's not. It has some fun to it, and but it's not much better. I'm gonna go 1.5 stars.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
You know, I think that's about where I'm gonna end up with this. There's not a lot good to say about this movie other than I need to be kind of half blasted on vodka and energy drinks to talk about it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
so yeah. It's a bad movie, but it's also kind of not really good. I don't know.
Okay, Jude, I'll get you out of this.
Help me, Jude.
Help me, Jude.
Tag me. So
you guys missed twice.
we're the worst. The Tremors saga in our live feed right now said that originally 2 was supposed to be in Australia. And I feel like that would have made a huge difference. That would have been cool.
A bunch of Australian people.
That was also when they had the budget of 17 million.
True.
They had to move it to Mexico for budgetary reasons. They only had 4 million to work with.
Did they actually shoot in Mexico?
Yeah.
Oh.
Either that or California, one of the two.
Okay.
Oh, well, yeah. California would have cost them too much taxes.
This is not my favorite film property in general.
You're being so nice right now.
Well, because I know that there are people in the feed right now and people who are in our Discord that love this, and I want to be respectful of that. I don't believe in yucking people's yums. It's not something that I will never watch this movie again. But I appreciate that there's this whole fandom out there that, like, you know, if this movie hadn't happened, there wouldn't be 7 of them out there either. And the TV show sounds dope. I'm upset that didn't happen because maybe it would make me like the movies more. You know my rules for one-star crap fests. It has to make me angry. This did not. Maybe if I had to watch it a couple more times, it would be a 1-star crap fest to me. But just like Vader, I'm going to give it 1.5 Heat Seeker Shriekers.
Okay. 1.5. Kadish, how about you?
All right. So this movie, it falls into the sequel trap. It does everything wrong, whereas the first movie did everything right. I feel like this movie was way too long for what it should have been. Like it should have been like either 95 minutes or 85 minutes or something like that. They introduced this concept of the life cycle of the Graboids, where like they have like different stages of evolution that they go through, which was something that was just invented for the sequel. I would have preferred if like they kind of kept the Graboids kind of as they are, just
me too.
make them smarter as opposed to like
Same.
like evolving them into like a different form. Because honestly, the Shriekers look so goofy, like they're just not scary.
Yeah.
It's almost like a Scooby-Doo comedy at the end of this movie. The one good thing about this film is that it kind of elevates Burt Gummer's character into more of a leading role, and in the third movie he kind of takes over the franchise, which is fun. And one of the things I love about his introduction in this movie is like he's kind of like dealing with the loss of his wife who like left him, but even more so than that, the thing that's got him most depressed is that the Soviet Union collapsed, and now he doesn't have anything to prep for, because his entire life he was prepping for nuclear war. And one of the funny things about this is, like, now that the Soviet Union's gone, the Graboids give him a reason to exist because they're something that he can actually prep against. And in this movie and in the third movie, all of his preparations for the Graboids kind of go out the window because they evolve and they change. And it basically
They're always one step ahead of him.
Yeah, he's denied vital need to know information every single movie. So
I feel I was denied critical, need to know information.
And Michael Gross, you know, like, other than Family Ties, this is the only thing I know him for. Like, I've never really seen him in anything else. And he's still making these movies, and it's like he owns this character. And Burt Gummer is the best part about every single Tremors sequel that he's in.
I'm sure that he probably goes to cons and people are like, "Holy shit, it's you!"
Dude, he is my favorite character in all these movies. Like, and I think the people who made these movies kind of tapped in on that, because they were making him a bigger and bigger part as they moved on with the franchise. And I love him, dude. He's so goofy and he's so funny, and he's such a red-blooded, gun-loving American. I'm just like, that's the dude right there.
Well, I think in the first one, you like Earl because of his relationship with Kevin Bacon. And in the second one, he's just surly, and that's not charming if he doesn't have someone to play off of. And nobody really has good chemistry with him in this.
Yeah, even his love interest doesn't have all that good a chemistry. But I do want to talk about Fred Ward for a second, because he recently passed away a couple months ago. And, you know, this is a guy, like, he's made tons of movies, and it was obvious that he came back for a paycheck for this one. His heart wasn't really in it. He didn't really have good chemistry with any of the actors, and there was a reason why he didn't come back for a third and whatever. But it is kind of funny that him and Grady, throughout this movie, they're kind of talking about what they're going to do with the money that they make from killing the Graboids. And Earl, who's been around the block a few times, he's like, this time around, I'm going to invest wisely and all this other stuff. And Grady's like, man, I'm going to build an amusement park. And in the third movie, they point out that like Earl and Grady made the amusement park together, and it was like a huge hit. And so like, not only does Earl get his like centerfold girlfriend, but he also gets fame and fortune, just like he always wanted. So he gets a happy ending. And I'm kind of glad about that.
Yeah.
There's a scene in this when Geology Kate is like, they're making it clear that she's into him, and they just like zoom in on Earl's ass for like 10 fucking seconds. It's so long.
They were checking each other out. Like he walks in and she's like bent over the desk or something like that, and he like checks her ass out. And then like when he turns around, she looks over at him and he's bent over something, and it was
got
a funny
these
little,
tight skinny jeans
these,
on.
like like legit
His like stonewashed jeans.
Yes.
She's like, ooh, I like it.
this fucking cowboy hat on.
I like those too, mama.
Oh man. So what's your star rating for this one, Kadish?
All right, so I'm not going to give it as low as a rating as Matt and Jude, because basically I feel like this is a decent enough movie, but it's not a good movie by any means. So I'm going to give this a solid 2 Graboid theme parks out of 5.
Okay. For me, this is definitely the lowest out of the 3 movies we talked about today. So I'm going to give it a 1.5. It missed the target for me.
Yeah.
I think the evolution of the Graboids was the wrong move to make. They should have kept them underground. It keeps the mystique, keeps the little horror aspect to it. When they pop out and they're like walking around like little velociraptors, it's just like.
Although your comparison to the Jurassic Park sequel blew my mind.
Yeah,
because I was like, man, beat for beat, this is
the same movie.
The same movie.
For sure. So I do enjoy it for that aspect. My favorite character, Burt. He's the only redeeming thing about this movie for me. It was that he showed
you want to
up.
be someday.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like
Alex doesn't look up to like anyone else. Not his dad, not his boss, not Jesus. It's Burt Gummer,
Burt Gummer, everybody.
Yeah, Burt Gummer is to Alex as C.W. Longbottom is to me.
Yes. Absolutely. So 1.5 stars. It's fun. I mean, if you're going on like a Tremors binge or something like that, you might as well watch in sequence. But yeah, it's a rough one. All right, guys, that's it for Tremors 2 Aftershocks. Stay tuned. Next, what was it, a day or two later, our next video will drop. It's going to be Tremors 3. So if you like what we're doing here, tune in for that video coming up. Matt Vader, where can they find you and your wart
Friend.
on the socials?
What the hell is that?
The audio only people are going to be very confused.
So confused.
Something just showed up on my shoulder. Weird. Okay. Hi, it's a little baby Graboid. Scritchy. You can find me at MattVader74 on all of the social medias and on our live stream every Saturday morning right here on this channel.
All right.
Me and Kadish and Brian from the Popcast and whoever else we bring in to the big show. So yeah, lots of fun.
Jude?
You can find me at I am Jude Juju.
All right.
On the socials.
Okay.
You know where.
That was quick.
Yeah.
Matthew Kadish.
You can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter and Truth Social. You can also find my Amazon author page at kadishbooks.com. And be sure to, if you're listening to us on Spotify and Apple iTunes or podcasts, give us a 5-star rating, because we're trying to get 200 of those suckers so we can be officially accredited on Rotten Tomatoes as movie reviewers.
It's Apple Podcast, babe.
Whatever. You can also watch our videos on Spotify now.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
true.
Yep. If you guys are a big Spotify user, if you use it to listen to music or other podcasts like Joe Rogan or something, we are now available there on video as well, not only audio. So head over there and you can check out our videos. So if you've been listening to us this whole time and it's like you're an audio listener and you're like, I wonder what these freaking weirdos look like, you can head on Spotify and find out. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
I'm hideous.
You're beautiful.
I'm hideous.
Stay salty, my friends. Adios.
Don't look at me. I'm ugly.
I'm ugly.